is Shantini Malya on behalf of Tech Plus Media, welcoming you all to this conversation. As you would have all seen over the last day, there has been a lot of content download and there have been various themes discussed over the day. So the focus of this conversation would be on back up your cloud data to accelerate digital transformation. What is this all about? Digital transformation is more than integrating digital technology in all areas of your business and changing the way you operate, as well as deliver value to your customers. It also implies a cultural change that requires organizations to challenge themselves constantly. As organizations of all sizes consider data a critical component of their digital transformation efforts, it's more critical than ever to reassess your data backup strategies. However, as enterprises transition to the cloud environment, they struggle to re-architect their backup infrastructure and data management strategy. With this fireside chat, we'll delve on the evolving digital transformation and data trends, challenges in data management and backup, as well as possible steps to mitigate information risk and ensure access to critical information at all times. In order to take this discussion forward, we have with us esteemed panelists. Let me introduce the two of them without further ado. We have with us Mr. Sandeep Bhambure, who is the Managing Director of Veeam Software India and SAARC, and he's joined by Mr. Ravindra Dhawan, who is the Senior General Manager and Head of IT Infrastructure Platforms at Mahindra & Mahindra. So I'm extending a warm welcome to the two of you. Welcome Sandeep, welcome Ravindra.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us amidst your busy schedule. And we hope to have a very fruitful discussion here. So let me jump right into the first question, which will open with a sense of getting a context. Ravindra, directing the first question to you. So you've been leading technology initiatives at Mahindra & Mahindra for a very, very long time. So what are the three things which excite you about your role across the organization? If you could elaborate, please.
Yeah, just to give you my background first, I'm actually a finance professional by choice in IT. So I'm qualified cost accountant and company secretary. Having spent around 15 years in my core function, I decided to move into IT. And around 19 years, I'm working with IT setup. And over a period of time, I have handled various roles, starting from application, now in infrastructure, handle security also. So the three important things, which actually excite me to take up this particular role is the innovative and the transformative approach, which I am, every day I'm finding particular field of, in the field of technocrats. And this particular field, make you feel that you are always on the top of the world because day is full of challenges. And solving those challenges, providing innovative solutions to the businesses, even adding new streams of business lines, to generate more revenue is also, into the foray of IT domain these days. We have seen how the fintechs are operating, how the pharma is, embracing all the technology and all that, which is actually giving us chance, to work very closely with the businesses and help them to add new business streams. Similarly, what I find most important and challenging is this particular field is offering us to give due respect to rule-based and the logic-based approach. Normally in the field of accounting, where I belong to, I always find that, the rule-based approach is prevail over the logic-based approach. Though over a period of time, even now they are also shifting to the logic-based approach by the advent of IFRS and all that. So, but I found that, IT was much ahead of the time. And I am really honored, privileged, that jumping into this field around 19 years back, much ahead of the time when no accountant actually was, dare to get into such kind of field. And the 5 broad areas which my function offer me to manage, predominantly, the area of the data center operations, the IT infra projects, which covers network as well as server infra, storage infra. Similarly, Microsoft and the SAP platform services I'm managing. Governance, risk and compliance is also part of my portfolio. Cloud deployments is also part of the portfolio. So this is, the broad area. These are the broad areas which currently I'm controlling and managing. Over to you, Santari.
So, Ravindra, you just stated your role and what you've currently been doing, which is like a very broad spectrum. So, could you lead us on to some of the digital transformation initiatives which have actually brought cultural and operational shifts within your organization? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so there are many initiatives, which we have actually, implemented over a period of time. To name a few, SAP HANA is the most important one because our lifeline runs on SAP HANA. I remember, in olden days, we started our journey with SAP R3 days. We used to call it R3. And then the platform got migrated to SAP 4.7, which was also an enterprise version. And then the HANA, that is in-memory compute journey, started a few years back. So we embraced Sidecar HANA as one more alternative database to the primary database. And then we graduated to Suite on HANA. And thereafter, the current version, what we are running, the most latest one is S4 HANA with DB2. With respect to backup, traditionally, we were always on, the capacity-based licensing. The products what we were using were the big name products. I don't want to take the name right now, but we have tried all the options, and when the Veeam backup was suggested to us, we decided to, invite them, did the POC, and successfully, we could implement the Veeam backup, which is actually a new age technology. I would call it that is also a digitalization initiative for our organization, because taking backup means not only a protection, okay, but it is also about the reliability assurance, right? Sometimes the backup is taken, but the restoration, there is a challenge. But with Veeam, we have not found those kind of challenges, and we are happy to say that this is also one of the important steps which we took around 1.5 years back, and it proved to be very, very successful for us. On the Industry 4.0 and the intelligent automation, our manufacturing plants, they are currently using a lot of AI, ML, IA based, processes and technologies to derive good benefits out of that. On cloud modernization, that is also a piece of, I would call it as a digitalization initiative. When we started our cloud journey around 5 to 6 years back, the main focus was on infrastructure as a service. That means lift and shift. That means whatever we are running on premise, just put it on cloud. But those were the days, when the cloud was very, very new, and we were not having that much confidence that whether the cloud way of working will really help us. So IaaS was the first platform which we tried on cloud. And over a period of time, what we realize is that unless and until we take advantage of the cloud native services, the real benefit of cloud will not come. So cloud modernization is the current project which we are working on. So similarly, we are trying to implement FinOps, because a lot of our group companies are taking our services, and people need visibility of chargebacks. So those kind of challenges we are trying to solve by implementing FinOps principles. With respect to our endpoint security, that is mobile application management, and to enable BYOD scenarios, we have implemented a couple of solutions so that people can, safely and securely, they can access corporate sites, applications on their mobile devices. To enable town hall kind of communication, we have recently implemented eCDN, which is content data network solution, so that one-to-many communication can be done by saving bandwidth. Coming to bandwidth saving, one more initiative which we have implemented very recently is SD-WAN, where the bandwidth aggregation and throughput improvement at the end user level we are able to see, and save cost also for the organization. Now, obviously, you will ask me a next question, that what are the key advantages of running these digital initiatives? To again give some few examples that definitely we found there is an improvement in the endpoint end user productivity. A lot of visible controls we could set in. People are now talking about single version of truth. The KPI monitoring, whatever we are doing, whether it is at the business level or it is IT level, we are all seeing single version of truth. Repetitive work got automated. A lot of intelligent automation we have implemented. Manual errors got automatically removed. High availability, reliability, improved collaboration. These are some of the advantages which we got apart from the cost improvement. Cost improvement is always taken as a major initiative, but I always give respect to cost, quality, delivery, safety, security. These points are also equally important. So we could touch almost all the quadrants of these deliverables.
And where exactly would you place the cloud infrastructure and cloud data in terms of your primary technology priorities? You listed out a lot of things done and the kind of benefits that are ensued from these digital transformation initiatives. But where would you place cloud infrastructure and cloud data? And did you see any acceleration in your cloud adoption, especially on the hybrid cloud side? So what is your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Cloud adoption is the way forward now. So if anybody is asking me a question that whether cloud is a choice, I would say absolutely no. Cloud is not a choice. Now it has become sort of a mandate. If you are not adopting cloud as early as possible, you will be left behind in the overall race. So what we have done is we have captured those early signals. And as I said, a few years back, around 5 years back, rapid manner, we started our cloud adoption journey. And day by day, the cloud adoption is improving. And modernization piece, as I said, that we are now embarking on that journey as well. So that microservices architecture, we are trying to take it into our fold, and so that we can get maximum benefits of cloud. Now cloud, if you consider the well matured organization like Mahindra and Mahindra, what it means to us and what it means to startup organization, they will people will talk different things. The reason is the startup organizations are born in cloud, right? So for them, everything is happening in cloud. But it may not be the case with the established organizations like us, those who have started our journey with on-premise data center. A lot of investment is already committed, and we are happy to use those services. But the question is, are we able to serve our customer in a most efficient manner? Are we able to give them when the information is needed, when the workloads are needed? Okay, are we taking much time to deliver our services, or we are much ahead of the time? That is an internal question we started asking. And then what we realized is the old ways of working, the lead time of 2 months, 3 months, procurement, implementation, and then provisioning workloads on premise. I think those days are gone. If you delay, such kind of things, and if you make businesses to wait for the services to happen or delivered, then I think time to market will also get impacted, and the overall business revenue will get impacted. So what we have decided is, the cloud first is the adoption journey we are riding on currently. So any new workload which is coming, by default, cloud is the option. We will have to prove otherwise that why it cannot move on cloud. Otherwise, it has to be on cloud. That is the kind of, the mission which we have taken. Now, with respect to existing workload, we are again applying some filters. That is it a right workload to be kept on premise, or can we even move that? So just to give you some examples, like, the workloads like SAP, the workloads like MES, that is manufacturing execution system, or enterprise warehouse management. Now, those kind of workloads, we will have to actually check what are the requirements of those workloads. Now, SAP kind of thing, if you are talking about it's a mission critical application, should we move on cloud? I would say that cloud is much more secure, sometimes better equipped to handle mission critical applications. So that inhibitions, I think we will have to remove, and we will have to start moving even mission critical applications as early as possible on SAP, and currently we are doing that. We are studying those, and we are exploring those kind of trends also. But the real challenge is the application like MES, which is manufacturing execution system, or enterprise warehouse management, where these systems are connected to these shop floor machines the data is actually fetched from that machine, the data is fed back to the machines. So there the latency related challenges are normally observed. So then what is the option for that? That also we are studying. Can we take part of that particular thing on cloud and keep the edge workloads on premise? So that kind of exploration currently which is happening. Now just to summarize, what I spoke on the cloud adoption journey, that pure play, the cost comparison may not be the right way to handle this dilemma of should we move to cloud or should we keep everything on premise. The other aspects, the business advantages, the cost competitiveness has to be supported by competitive edge to the business. So from that angle, I think we should study, and then we should be taking the holistic decision whether the workload is to be moved on cloud or is to be kept on premise. The other thing is 100% movement on cloud for organizations like us may not be may not be feasible at this juncture. However, the hybrid way of working could be much more suited. Now, when I'm saying hybrid is basically, keeping certain things on premise, certain things on cloud, certain things on X cloud, certain things on Y cloud. So this is like, the hybrid approach which I'm talking about.
Sure, sure. So great insights here, Ravindra. You spoke about, the hybrid model, which I think is a fairly, sort of a common sense approach or a cautious prudence approach that a lot of organizations are perhaps weighing in now. Great insights. At this point of time, inviting Sandeep Bambure to jump into the conversation. So Sandeep, inviting your views. Welcome. Thank you for joining us and inviting your views here about where you see or how you see companies getting aggressive on cloud adoption. And do you think this whole thing matches their business priorities? Because Ravindra has given a very insightful view on this and a very practical view on this. So what's your take? Over to you, Sandeep.
Yeah, thanks, Shantari. And I must say that I'm really loving this, conversation and the chat, and particularly the perspective that we get from a great fusion of finance, business, accounting, and IT put together in the form of Mr. Ravindra Dhawan really sets a different perspective, to this overall conversation. And thank you very much for that. So, it's not a rocket science anymore that cloud adoption is accelerating. So we spoke to a large number of decision makers across the globe, and our findings or observations from this discussion was that almost every other customer is talking about cloud acceleration. So almost 100% said that yes, we are going to go with a cloud first strategy or adopting cloud in some way or the other. But the challenges around availability remain the same that were there 2 decades back. And I was talking to a bunch of CIOs 20 years back. They were RTO challenges. They remain the same today. So while the entire IT gamut and environment has changed, but the challenges have remained the same because customers have not really taken a fresh look at what is their availability and protection strategy. One of the findings from this conversation was there are 3 C's that are driving customers to move away from a legacy platform, and Mr. Dhawan alluded to one of them, which was around complexity and cost. So when you are introducing cloud and adopting cloud and different technologies, including containers and looking at SaaS-based applications, moving SAP to cloud and cloud orchestration, so many things that drive competitive edge and agility to your business. You don't want the backup infrastructure to be complex. And unfortunately, and I'm saying this with context to the Indian customers, if you have implemented a backup software which is which has been in your setup for over a decade, in all likelihood, it doesn't meet the challenges that IT faces today. So it could be very complex. The new workloads would be quite difficult to manage with that, with the legacy backup software, and that is why customers are moving up. Another point which Mr. Dhawan also alluded to was around cost. So, we have to keep the cost in mind always. Why is because, whether pandemic or no pandemic, we want to deliver the optimum experience at the right price point. And one of the key challenges that we've observed is the cost of managing backup is really going out of control and out of hands of the CIO or the CTO, the IT team. And they go back to the CFOs asking for more money. That is because they have created, data assets and infrastructure which are not delivering the right value for the business. So customers are looking at, software-defined approach to backup, looking at leveraging the backup data, and these are the new things that we are bringing to the table. Third key driver for customers to change their backup software is around capability. So when the workloads have changed and moved from physical to virtual to cloud and SaaS, and now customers looking to implement containers, capability legacy backup software is not helping to meet the available SLAs of business today. So they end up having multiple silos of backup which are possibly able to do a one job well, but they're not really compromising the SLAs on the other job. And this is what is really making customers move away from a legacy backup software. At this time, I just want to add 2 more C's to this, and I'm drawing this from Mr. Dhawan's chat. One C is about confidence. So when you are accelerating on cloud, the most important thing that IT is looking at is confidence that when you do accelerate, you are protected. Okay, there is no downtime planned, no unplanned downtime as you accelerate, and that is the confidence that we are able to deliver. The fifth C, that I just want to touch upon is the competitive edge, which again Mr. Dhawan spoke about. So you are adopting cloud for competitive edge, and the ability to orchestrate between clouds and ensuring that wherever the data lies, it is protected against unplanned downtimes or ransomware attacks or any eventuality is something that we are able to deliver for our customers.
Great. So that was a great set of insights, Sandeep. Thank you for kind of opening it up for me to get right back to Ravindra again. So following up on what Sandeep just shared, Ravindra, as an organization, Sandeep made a few observations as to what he commonly saw as trouble spots. So what was it that you were trying to, kind of circumvent, especially during the pandemic? I mean, maybe even minus or prior to that, but more so since it was more pronounced during the pandemic. What were the 3 key challenges with regard to data backup and management in the cloud environment that you really had to circumvent, or rather you observed?
Due to this pandemic, we have learned a lot of new lessons. Okay, and those challenges were actually converted into opportunities. Those were the days, just imagine before pandemic, if anybody would have asked you a question that would you allow your employees to work from home, I think no HR person or no manager will allow you to do that 100% working from home. But now we all have realized that working from home is on the contrary adding to the productivity. It is reducing cost. So now new ways of working is evolved because of this particular challenge. So it has not become a challenge. I would say it has opened up the doors of opportunity. Okay. However, to give you some few examples, when I remember the day 18th March 2020, when we decided that tomorrow onwards we all have to work from home, we immediately got everybody into conference room. We created some material for our end users that how do we enable them to work from home, what kind of do's and don'ts users will have to follow. We immediately we got into action. We created sort of a webinar sessions for our users, respective plant level, SBU level, and we started in 1 day's time we have conducted so many sessions, right, just to tell them what are the do's and don'ts, how to connect, how to use VPN. So those kind of thing, it was already there on their machines, but people have not realized that they will have to use it one fine day, and that day is from tomorrow. So that was a pleasant surprise for all of us. So when we started teaching them, what we realized that obviously when you are working from home, since it is a new way of working or new way of communicating with everybody, people started raising a lot of doubts that whether it will work, what will happen to the connectivity, what happens to the security. These base level questions people started asking, and we had actually a tough time to tell them that if you are using VPN, then it is secure, don't worry about that. If you are using proper connectivity, then I think the communication can also be established. The platform like WebEx or Microsoft Teams will really help you to connect with each other, share documents. So these kind of things. So the biggest challenge which I want to cite here is the awareness and making people convinced that it is possible to work from home using digital technologies. So that was the biggest thing for us. The second big challenge was how to operate and how to manage data center, because we were habituated keep our team on premise, whether it is a BMS operator, server, storage, network team. We had NOC, SOC, everything on premise, and then we had to tell them that tomorrow onwards everything will be happening remotely. The question was how do we connect, how do we monitor, whether it will be efficient. So those kind of dilemma, even at the admin level also we had to solve. Similarly, setting up the end user support disk, because people used to call the support desk. In our case it is MSOL 5544, which is a single number, extension number given to everybody. So it was so easy, just call up that number and call that help desk person and get the call resolved. But now here what will happen? Here nobody is going to come or visit physically. So how do you actually handle those calls? So there the virtual support was organized. So these were the three broad challenges which we faced. And how do we actually got resolved it? If I want to give the name of certain technologies, that BYOD scenario, because people said that the desktop operator said that we don't have company machine and we want to access our email, what should I do? Then do you have a personal machine? Yes. Then how do I get connected with the corporate network? Then we had to enable BYOD scenario for them. So virtual Windows virtual desktop or the VDI kind of things, those kind of support system were given to them. The mobile phone operators or the mobile users, particularly our sales and marketing team, habituated using mobile devices, and they used to do business transactions over that. How do we secure them? That was also a question before us. So we implemented mobile application management for them. Similarly, the multi-factor authentication or conditional access. These are the ways we had to actually enable users in safe and secured way, and provide them a very robust platform to communicate, to collaborate, so that they will never find that whether they are sitting in office or they are at home or they are wherever they are, they should be able to freely, they should be able to communicate, collaborate, and do business as normal. So this was actually enabled only and only because of the modern age technology. So I'm giving full marks to that, and my businesses, our businesses, respective business heads have acclaimed all the IT initiatives. It is only because of the IT we could actually keep business running for more than a year. It's all because of IT.
Sure.
So this is so pandemic has taught us a lot of lessons. And good lessons, I would say. Apart from the certain things were not so good, but at the same time certain new things or new ways of working actually got opened out because of this.
Absolutely. So very well observed, Ravindra, turning adversity into opportunity. Thank you for those insights. Sandeep, I come back to you, deflecting the question. Next question to you, further to what Ravindra just said. You had earlier mentioned about companies actually facing legacy, ways of actually managing data backup or data management strategies were not really working anymore. And it was also increasing the complexity and the cost factor for most organizations. So further to that, what exactly was Veeam actually having as a dialogue with customers to help them with this? So your thoughts around this, Sandeep.
Yeah. So, while we worked on the tenets of being simple, flexible, and reliable, this was very important for, our customers as well as for us to provide a platform where customers can quickly scale and adopt cloud and the new age technologies. I think we quite early, in the game realized that customers' expectations from backup is really changing. So it was no longer about just protecting information. That's what traditional backup vendors have been doing. we went far ahead and took backup to a completely different level. We started offering customers not only backup but backup and replication. From the same availability platform. Okay, we help the customers to reduce their RPO and RTO to near zero and meet the SLAs of the business by introducing continuous data protection, which was till some time back only a privilege of customers with deep pockets. But we have actually democratized CDP and made it available for virtual machines, VMware particularly, for any customer of any size. We realize that customers are expecting that the backup will also create the last line of defense and help secure their data, protect their backup data against ransomware attack. So we introduced the capability where customers could move their data to an SP compliant object storage on the cloud, and render it completely immutable. No ransomware can really, corrupt your data or make it inaccessible. And we went even a step further. We said, okay, if customers want to take the data on-prem, we could do that as well. We introduced capabilities like instant recovery of multiple VMs, which allowed customers to rapidly adopt cloud and help them move workloads in a multi-cloud environment. Bring those workloads back on-prem if required. We de-risked our customers' unstructured data protection, okay, by delivering on capabilities which could give a throughput of backing up 200 million files an hour of unstructured data. Now, this was not heard of. Customers looking at some high-end NAS storages could achieve something similar, but that's not the privilege of everyone. And all the traditional backup softwares were taking ages to protect the unstructured data. We could do it in just few hours. And by doing that, we helped our customer de-risk, because even your unstructured information is very important. There is no guidance that says that, well, you just protect your databases and leave the unstructured information, unprotected. We introduced several different capabilities wherein we could help customers to comply not only with the internal auditors, okay, but even the regulators, if you will, and deliver reports that will give confidence to these bodies that yes, the data is safe and secure and it meets the SLAs of the business. So, quickly summarizing, we fully well realize that backup may be, just one function of the overall availability strategy that the customers are trying to devise for their business. And as they adopt cloud and they accelerate on the cloud, we also envisage that containers could be a reality. I'm quite certain that every business, big and small, is likely to explore containers in the future. And we are helping our customers who are at the forefront of adopting Kubernetes to back up those workloads. And these capabilities are basically becoming part of the Veeam availability platform. We also realize that protecting information on SaaS applications, like let's say O365, is not the responsibility of the SaaS provider. It's not the responsibility only of Microsoft. It's a shared and joint responsibility between customers and Microsoft. And that is where we offer capabilities where customer could secure all of that information. So, to quickly summarize, going beyond the traditional boundaries of backup and building an availability platform, being the most trusted provider of backup solution that helps customer, to deliver on cloud data management is a vision that we've been working on. And I think we're doing a fairly good job with more than 400,000 customers worldwide. In India, more than 1,500 customers, large enterprises like, my friend here, Mr. Ravindra Dhawan, putting their confidence on Veeam to protect enterprise data. Large number of financial institutions and enterprises today, use Veeam in India and this region for protecting their mission critical workloads. And customers are looking at us particularly as they move ahead in the cloud adoption journey, because they realize very well that the traditional backup is not going to meet the requirements of today.
Sure. So great insights, Sandeep, and a lot of, how Veeam is really kind of push the bar up in terms of helping customers. So I come back to Ravindra at this stage in terms of asking him about the best practices that they have adopted in terms of backup, data backup on the cloud. So what would be your best practice yarn for us, Ravindra?
Yeah, best practices standpoint. First of all, in olden days, we never used to back up everything. We used to define that, what is to be backed up and what is not to be backed up. I think those days are gone now. The backup is required for each and every application because something which is critical for you may not be critical for others. But however, if you take a holistic approach from business standpoint and from legality standpoint, now everything has become sort of mandatory from the forensic analysis standpoint also. So things which you were not thinking critical have become critical now. So backup is not an option. So it has to be, data has to be backed up for all the applications. Now, irrespective of application, database, storage, or the type of the user, whether the user is a sales and marketing user or a HR user, don't differentiate, because for everybody, his data is critical. So from that angle, the way we are backing up mission critical information, similarly, the endpoint user standpoint, his data is also equally critical. So for that also now we are designing, the backup solutions. So somewhere, we are using OneDrive. Okay, somewhere we are also evaluating, other backup solutions. But as far as the enterprise backup is concerned, as Sandeep rightly said, currently we are using Vim, and happy to announce that today for all the application except SAP, we are using only Vim. We do not have any other backup solution in our portfolio. Okay, and slowly SAP backup also will be moved on Vim backup, but we are only waiting for the cloud movement currently. Once it moves on cloud, then definitely the Vim backup can be explored on cloud as well. Okay, so this is how we are trying to do that. From the other best practice, what is the retention period of the backup? That is also equally important. So we have devised a policy that retention, what level and how many days we should be keeping. Similarly, where we should be keeping. Should we be keeping at our on-premise or offshore? We should be storing that particular data. We are also equally thinking about archival solutions, right? Data tiering solution, and I think Sandeep in one of the discussions he mentioned about the tiering capability of the Vim. So we are very much eager to implement that as well, so that the data which is older can easily move to the cheaper storage. Why should we unnecessarily keep it on the costly storage? So those kind of best practices also we are trying to use in our portfolio.
Sure, sure. So, great, sort of points there and very crisp, Ravindra. Thank you for that. Sandeep, I'm going to quickly follow up with two quick questions on basis what Ravindra has said. Sandeep, you had mentioned also about some data and facts figures of how Veeam has really pushed the bar in terms of helping many organizations transition from legacy to more, state-of-art data management and data backup strategies. So if you could elaborate a little more, I'm following it up with two closing questions to you. How do you think businesses can use technology to automate services to help them enable workloads and data to be used across multiple infrastructure environments? And also, how do you think Veeam really helps organizations to, and it's a very critical part, to build fail-proof data backup and recovery plans as a strategy for cloud, virtual, as well as their physical environments? So you had spoken about this earlier a little bit, but if you could kind of give some sort of an elaborate summary before we move on.
Yeah, sure. So, I was talking about the changing expectations from backup and, how backup can really extend into delivering much more, provided, customers look at a very modern platform like what we have been delivering. That's because if you look at how things have changed over the last decade, things have really moved in the IT space when customers were looking at physical environment, and then they went into virtualization. Last decade has been so much of virtualization, and now we see that the next decade is going to be about cloud adoption, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, containers, and so on. So what the customers are expecting today is not only the confidence that all their workloads are protected and the ability to recover with zero RPO and RTO, requirements of the business. They are also expecting that these workloads are portable. The ability to orchestrate these workloads in multi-cloud is becoming very important, because the challenge that was there a decade back on vendor lock-in has actually transformed into cloud lock-in, and this is what customers are really thinking about. Is cloud lock-in going to be having a significant impact on the business in terms of agility or the cost of operations? And that is why they are looking at availability platform providers like us to help them kind of have that flexibility to move workloads in a cloud. So that is one of the most important capability, I would say, that is really driving. Coming to some of the best practices that Mr. Dhawan also spoke about, what we recommend our customers is to have a 3-2-1-1-0 strategy for protecting their information. What we mean by that is have 3 copies of data, 2 copies on 2 different storages, 1 copy which could be offsite, could be on a completely immutable, object storage, could be S3 compliant. You bring it home, whichever way you want to look at the business. But at the same time, the 0 in that 3-2-1-1-0 stands for verified recovery of data. So when you back up, you need to be 100% sure that the data is being protected and recoverable. So these are some of the attributes and recommendations that we have for the business, and we believe that as customers practice, looking at availability not just from the standpoint of having a backup software, but having a very robust strategy and a software-defined one where you don't get, literally at the, you're not at a gunpoint or at a ransom from the large hardware providers who want to sell you expensive appliances, but you can create your own availability platform, which is software defined. It gives you tremendous amount of agility, and that is what we have been recommending our customers, because as you get into the next decade, it's all about how resilient your business is, how quickly can you recover your business, how agile your IT is to adopt to the changing requirements of your business and to help you in driving better customer experience.
Sure. So the thrust is basically on trying to derive the maximum in moving out of legacy and kind of optimizing all that you have, whether you're on on-prem, whether you're on cloud, whether you've actually moved the bar on virtual. So basically, I think it moves all the trajectories, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. So great. So these were great insights between the two of you, Sandeep and Ravindra. Thank you so much for kind of joining us on this chat, giving us your time and delving into the different aspects of how digital transformation not is just about transformation, but it's also about how you can optimize your different trajectories in terms of data management, backup, steps to mitigate information risk, and also ensure that operationally everybody, including the stakeholders within and outside an organization, have access to information at all times, real time, with little or no downtime, and you have, foolproof backups for that as well. So thank you so much. That was Mr. Sandeep Bambure, Managing Director of Veeam Software India and SAARC, and Mr. Ravindra Dhawan, Senior General Manager and Head of IT Infrastructure Platforms at Mahindra & Mahindra, joining us on this fireside chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dhawan. Thank you, Shantari. I really enjoyed this chat. Thanks so much. Take care, all of you.
Yeah, thank you, entire team. Thanks.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.